Well, good afternoon, my fans. Good afternoon. Welcome to another episode of The Big Damn with your boy Bobby Hill. Glad y'all can make it back with me. Decided to do this again. Feel like I did good the first time. I mean, I did okay. See, I did good. Did okay. Want to come back and do it again. See if y'all gonna vibe with me again. You know, I like doing that. I felt good doing it yesterday. Like I said, it was a leap of faith to step out on the ledge and see where it would take me. And I'm still out here on the ledge. I haven't gone anywhere yet. I'm just seeing where this goes. If I said, if y'all buy with me, I want y'all to come, come take this trip with me. If not, it's okay. Not everybody gonna feel what you do. There's always gonna be haters. And people just don't want to bother with you. You're not gonna make everybody happy. You're not gonna satisfy everybody. Nobody can do that. Nobody. You know. So, with that being said, I'm simply trying to, up in Texas, trying to get my footing down. I love it here. Like I said, I'm from North Carolina, but I've been here in Texas for about 5 years. You know, and I was driving trucks when I first started moving here. When I first came here, and I didn't really get a chance to, experience like day to day life. And Texas. I'm in San Antonio, by the way, the home of Wimby, the dinosaur. We'll talk about him later. And it's buzzing around here too. Trust me, they love him around here. Wimbyama everywhere. They love him. It goes right in line with other players, David Robinson, Timmy D, and Wimby. So get back to like I said, I've been here for 5 years. Like I said, I'll stay here for about a year and a half. And then I moved down to the part of Texas called the Rio Grande Valley, which is it's down close to Mexico. Stayed there for a year. Then moved back up here to San Antonio. You know, where found my wife, moved back up here. Been happy ever since. Been the happiest of my life. And things have been easy. I ain't gonna say and tell you things been all lovely. You haven't, but I just mama ain't raised no punk. I can deal with controversy. I can deal with adversity. So it just makes you stronger. But the fact I have somebody here, day by day to go through it with me is it's a blessing. It makes your life a lot easier. You're not having to be here by yourself alone. I know, I'm away from all my family's in North Carolina, so I'm basically here by myself. I got my wife is my family now. My kids, I talk, I got, communication with my kids is sort of up and down. I don't want to talk about that right now, but, it's up and down. But, I still have them in my heart. I still love them. Still, longing for the day that, I have all four of my kids in the same place with me. That's what I think about. And I don't don't know if that ever happened, honestly. But, one can always dream. And like I said, we'll see where it takes us. Man, it might bear fruit and it might not, not, I'm still going to go on and try to live my life, live my life to, say live my life to the fullest, but live my life and, take care of my wife, take care of myself, try to stay healthy, try to stay here as long as I can to allow that to happen. So part of the responsibility is me is, trying to have a good lifestyle so I can be around here and I don't be out here, watch what I eat, watch what I put in my body, watch, just everything, the environment I'm in, type of energy I put out here in the world, just watch all that. So when it comes back, I want it to come back and affect me in a negative way. You know? But yeah, like I love it here in San Antonio. It's nice little nice, it ain't nothing little about it. San Antonio's big. People talk about the size cities in the United States, the big cities. People sort of, they talk about, in New York, to Los Angeles, Chicago's and stuff, and leave out San Antonio. San Antonio is huge. I mean, it don't got the skyline and all the got a reasonable skyline, but it ain't the big one like other cities. But there's a lot of people. It's big, it's spread out. A lot of traffic here. They got gigantic bridges and interchanges and stuff. Look like roller coasters around here, and this is that's Texas. Speed limit 70 right here. The average speed limit is 70. So most out here on the open road is 80. And there's a couple of highways in Texas where the speed limit is 85 miles an hour. So I've been on the roads. I've been going 80 miles an hour. These cars going past me like this, so they're going like 100, no problem, no problem. But that like I said, it's hot down here. It's not. It's different than the North Carolina heat. I remember growing up, it would be hot. It's humid too. It would be real humid. It'd be like 90%, 90%, something like that. So it make it hot and it's hard to breathe. Down here it's hot, but it's not really hard. It's not impossible to breathe down here. It's not that stuffy hot. It's hot though. I sweat in the wintertime, so it don't matter to me. I always sweat, so that's not an issue. But it's hot, but you can still get around here. But it's not that unbearable stuff. But you gonna come down in Texas, you got to take the good with the bad. So you have to take the heat. You want everything else, you got to come in, you got to take that heat. If you can't take the heat, get out of the Texas. For real. That's honest truth. I like to talk about, one thing I like to talk about is I seen something today talking about the little dispute between Stephen A. Smith and Jason Whitlock. It's just sad to see stuff like that. I remember seeing them on television. I was younger. I remember Jason Whitlock when he first started working he was working at ESPN for a while, and I guess he got fired there because he was always controversial. He was always sort of like he always had something to say against, black leaders who try to step up. He used to talk junk about, he used to talk junk about Al Sharpton. He used to talk junk about, Jesse Jackson. Talking junk about black players and stuff. And, so he was always sort of controversial. So I sort of like, he sort of then, he sort of want my cup of tea. I ain't gonna knock the man. Do what you got to do to get ahead. Black man in this country, do what you got to do. I ain't gonna knock no other black man trying to get money in this country because it's hard. We got so many obstacles. If you can find your way, do it. But I just didn't roll with the way he rolled as far as talking about black people, black culture, and stuff like that. So like I said, he did his thing, and then Stephen A. Smith, I was a big fan starting out, and I felt like he was a voice for the people. I felt like he was someone I could relate to, someone I could just talk to, see him in a bar, someone and just talk to him. But as is with many people, as you get successful, you start getting ego, and you start thinking that start thinking highly of yourself, too highly of yourself, and now you get to the point where he's up here and going out the way talking about black people, the black athlete, going out the way to criticize him. It just always seemed like it is. He goes out the way to criticize the black athlete, putting them on a pedestal that he don't put other athletes on. When they fall short, he go out the way to knock them down and stuff. And talk about now he's into politics, talking about he has a presidential a presidential campaign in the future, which is laughable, but that's where we're at now. Thanks, Trump. That's where we're at now. But I don't think that he should. I don't think he should run. So I think he's too divisive. He goes out the way to talk about black politicians. Here's my problem with him, as far as him running for president, because I remember a few years ago, when Barack Obama was president. I ain't saying he had to kiss his butt, because he's black. I ain't saying that, I ain't saying that at all. But what I'm saying is that, you saw what this man was going through when he first got into office. The first day first day he was inaugurated, you know, Mitch McConnell, got out there and said his goal was to make Barack Obama a one-term president. That was his goal. His goal was not working with him to make him a one-term president. So their whole philosophy of the Republican Party was to obstruct. This man's trying to, you know, better the people. Trying to give them health care, trying to, give them tax breaks, stuff like that. Trying to do stuff like that. But all they was doing was obstructing. Then Stephen A. Smith gets on camera and says, I wish all black people would vote Republican. Like, why would you want black people to vote for a party that was okay with the New York Times when he was a candidate, posting a picture of him being shot dead by the police and had him portrayed as a monkey? That party said nothing of that. That party said nothing when, a candidate for Senate was talking about legitimate rape and stuff like that. He wanted us to vote with that party. That's what he wanted us to. He ain't saying the Democrats any better. He's saying that their history, they started out, with the Klan down south. They started out with a racist history, but they changed and the Republican Party changed, but I ain't saying they're perfect. But I'd rather support support a party that won't, portray me or someone that looks like me in the newspaper as a monkey or, anything like that, or call us rioters when all we want to do is, people who are shooting us when we're unarmed to be held accountable, and we want people to be held accountable. And when we're speaking loudly on it, we're rioters and stuff. He want us to vote for that party. That's what he wants us to vote for. Vote. So now, after saying all that, now he claims he's going to run for president, and now all of a sudden he wants to be a Democrat. He wants to be the party that he's telling people to vote against a few years ago. That's what he's going to run with. I don't want to hear that, man. Get mad, talking junk about, Senator Kelly because they said the correct thing by telling people not to follow an illegal order. And what his response was, well, you follow the order and let somebody else deal with it. So he basically telling you to push the buck. He's telling you, don't worry about it. You do the legal order and let them deal with it. If somebody gets in trouble, let them get in trouble. Don't worry about it. But that's dumb information, because you don't realize is presidents don't stay around forever. Administration don't last forever. You have to answer questions for your acts. And saying you were following orders is not a defense for an illegal order. If you knew it was an illegal order, you were required by law not to do it. So he wasn't saying anything wrong. But then Stephen A. Smith gets up here and blasts him for that when he was actually saying the right thing. So he's here talking about Kamala Harris, talking about Jasmine Crockett, and it seems like he just, why are you going out the way to talk about them? What you saying nothing about Megan Kelly? Saying nothing about Elizabeth Hasselbeck. You saying nothing about all these other conservative women who's out here talking, they're, you don't say nothing to them, but you seem like you're always criticizing someone, people who look like us. That's all I'm saying. So it's sort of, that's my stand against him, so. And then he got in his feelings when Terrell Owens said that, the street said that Max Kellerman sound more black than you. And that touched a nerve. When things touch a nerve, that means there's a bit of truth to it. And that's why, and I give him his, props. He's given to black colleges. He's done that. He's brought light to it. But then my retort to that is, okay, why are you doing it for? Just so you can throw it up whenever somebody questions your authenticity, and then you can throw it up to say, hey, look, man, look what I did for black people. How dare y'all not talk to me? How dare y'all not like me? Sound like Snoop Dogg at the Source Award. Y'all ain't down for Stephen A. Y'all don't love me. That's what he like act like when he's asking black people that I done gave y'all money. Y'all don't love me. Hey, I don't care about that. You can give you can give your child $100. That child will take that $100 and close the door and say, I hate you. That don't mean nothing because you get money, it's all about the meaning. You put your name on it, you put your face on it, it's for personal. I feel like part of that is for personal publicity as well. I ain't saying you not have it in your heart to help it out because you went some mistake, but I'm saying that, don't say that personal exposure is not not a factor in that because it is. Because your face is on it all. And then as soon as somebody say something to you, you're always throwing it up. Hey, look what I did for black folks. Look what I did for black folks. You know what he sound like? Sound like Trump. That's what I'm saying. So, it goes both ways, but I just think it's, if I had to pick a side between Whitlock or Stephen A. Smith, I'm picking Stephen A. Smith because as much as now is I don't have a problem, but with Stephen A., I don't roll with Jason Whitlock. No, no. It's funny that Cam had him on his show, and Cam Newton, he's one of the biggest. Oh my God, he talked, he used to talk junk about Cam, and and the fact he had him on his show, that was, I don't know. I don't know, because he's talked junk about Cam like he won't nothing, and I seen him here talking the other day, talking about how, he goes out the way to say, how it sounds like Kanye West and Candace Owens. They're in that boat right there, saying how he's like how look how white people taking over basketball, taking over college basketball, taking over the NBA and stuff like that. It's going out the way to say stupid stuff like that. Come on, man. Why? Just enjoy what you're seeing. Stop worrying about who's taking over. Just worrying about there's good product on television because that's been the problem. It don't matter what color it is. It's about the product that's on the television, and the product has been bad for a while. Now it's getting better. But he's the one that seemed to always want to bring up, him being a black man. He always want to bring up how white people been oppressed, and which is laughable. Like, come on, man. You look like a fool up here doing that. Why do you do that to yourself? Why? Why? I mean, are they giving you that much money to do that? I mean, why? It's not worth it. It's not worth it. Not worth it. Well, not that being said, I'm tired, I want to, sit up and bash, brothers like that. They still my brothers. Okay, we still in this fight together in this country right here, being black in this country. So yeah, we all brothers. So I mean, that's wishing well. Hoping don't be careful, man. Just be careful out here. Y'all going at each other, man, because y'all just doing other people's work for y'all. You contributing to the destruction of yourselves. Without, you can't blame nobody. You can't blame the man. You can't blame nobody. You blame yourself. What you did. You don't have to get up there and say that, man. And it goes to both of them. No. Yeah, so I like it. Been up in San Antonio. Been exposed to a lot of different cultures. That's one thing around because I'm from North Carolina, from Clinton, North Carolina, and then there ain't one that many cultures: black, white, you had Indians, and you have I'm sorry, I'll be correct, Native Americans. Then you have a few Hispanics, but most of them were like migrant workers. So we didn't go to school with too many of them. We had a few, but that was it. So I wasn't exposed to a lot of culture growing up in school like that. And then I started driving trucks, later. And I went to college and everything, and I went there, but I got exposed to most culture was driving trucks. I was able to go across the country and see all the different types of cultures all across this country. This is a beautiful country. That's why it's so sad to see all the division on it, because I wish everybody could see the country through my eyes, the way I saw it through driving trucks, because this is a beautiful place. This is a beautiful place, have beautiful people, and it's sad that, that we allow this, we allow a few people to come in here and just tear us apart. Like I said, I hope it don't last forever, but nothing lasts forever. But just hope hope the damage is not too bad. Hope the damage is not irreparable. We'll see. But like I said, I've been around this country, been, seen a lot of cultures and stuff. And when I came here to San Antonio, I'm glad I was able to see a lot, around a lot of cultures. Of course, you got black, you got white, you got Mexican, you got, Colombian, Colombiana, Colombiana. I'm trying to get my Spanish right, so so might I might throw some Spanish up from down to down. Work with me. Um, you know, Brazil, Brazilian. You got Cubans here, have Indians here, not Native American Indians from the country of India. We got them here. We have people, Palestine, yeah, Jewish, Palestine, got what else? Trying to find Saudi, all the middle, like the Middle Eastern. They got a lot of Middle Eastern. They got a lot of Africans here. They have a lot of cultures here, and it's very, very nice, very nice, very nice to see that. Very nice to see, a lot of people living together. I ain't saying everybody living in harmony. I ain't gonna say all that. I ain't just saying. I'm not gonna lie to y'all like that. But there's a lot of people here, and it's good around here. You get to see, people. Some people speak to me, some people don't. And I understand people. In certain situations, I understand. Some people speak to, some people don't. I don't get offended. I don't like take it personally or nothing like that. So I like, being here and just being engulfed in all of this, never, they don't have an NFL team. They have the Cowboys that's 5 hours away, and they got the Houston Texans, but they don't have nothing here. They have, they got the San Antonio Spurs, and try to, it's about trying to check them out and trying to I've never been, after Jordan retired, never like became a fan of a team. Try to follow the Charlotte team, but God, that can be terrible. But sort of let's follow players. But being out, got my roots here in San Antonio. Sort of the past couple of years, sort of been going towards rooting for the Spurs. So now this buzzing around here. This is my home, and I go for the home team. I still don't. I was a Panthers fan. I'm still a Panther. I still keep up with the Panthers. I know it's painful. It's a painful being a Panthers fan over here since 1995, 90. I think the first in 95 or 97, whatever. It's been very painful being a Panthers fan. It just has. You know. Before that, I was an Eagles fan. Before the Panthers came into existence, the Eagles fan. The only reason I was an Eagles fan because they had a black quarterback, Randall Cunningham. I ain't gonna lie. I'm just keeping it real with you. Before I was an Eagles fan, I used to like the Cowboys. But the reason I had stopped liking the Cowboys was because they were 1-15, and I was young and impressionable. And the 1-15 team was not vibing with me, so there you go. So I don't hate the Cowboys. I don't hate the Cowboys. I just, I'm not. I'm the type of person to think the NFL is better when the Cowboys are good because they're so polar, and they're so I don't know, volatile as far as people either love them or hate them. No, people either watch them to win, or people see if they win, or watch to see who's going to beat them. Stuff like that. It's good for the league. But like I said, with that being said, I'm here. So I like being here. I like the vibe around here. It's not crazy. It's still a lot of traffic. Ain't a lot of traffic anywhere we have a lot of people. There's always gonna be a lot of traffic. So there's people here. A lot of people here. People drive crazy. They drive crazy. Oh my God, they drive crazy. Got these loud cars, loud mufflers. 3 o'clock in the morning, you hear a loud muffler sound like an old damn riding lawnmower going by. It's pitiful. They don't have no regard sometimes. It's something every now and then. It's not like that all the time, but every now and then you have your kids. You got your youngsters around here. You got your little, People with little gangs and stuff around here got your little graffiti everywhere. But that's, it comes with the territory when you have a congregation of people. You're gonna have your little faction. You're gonna have like, your little section that don't want to do right and stuff like that. So you always gonna have that. You know, I really like, like I said, I really like my decision doing this. I really like doing this. I feel like this is my niche. I feel like, I could, really like help people and make a change doing stuff like this because I like, expressing myself, expressing my feelings and stuff. And I don't get tired of telling my wife. She's like, boy, shut the hell up, man. I'm tired of hearing that. Hear that same shit you say all the damn time. You steady doing it again. So she probably happy that I'm doing this right now. I love, I love that woman. Man, I'm glad. I'm very happy she came into my life. She's been a godsend. She helped me get focused on balancing my life because I was all about driving trucks and all this and trying to have a family life. Doing that it was impossible. What I wanted in life didn't vibe with me driving trucks. So I got what I got out of it. It got me out of North Carolina, got me here to build a new life. So, you know, and then she was able to, help me, you know, realize that you don't have to sit here and do all that. We figure it out. We get off the road, we figure out what to do. Just work hard. Just work hard. Have a positive attitude. Enjoy life. It's not all about 9 to 5, pay the bills and everything. You got to do that. We already know that. That's a given fact that you got to do that. But you got somewhere in between there. You have to find somewhere to enjoy your life. You don't want to wait till you're 55 and 60 and stuff and say, oh, okay, now I'm gonna start living. Then now your damn bones are fucked up. Your bones are crazy. Your bones are about broke. Your damn knees about rusted. Your elbows hurting. Your damn back about sore. And so you ain't gonna be able to enjoy life the way you wanted to because you done, spent all your life breaking your back. And for what? And for what? At the end of the day, what is going, so enjoy yourself, enjoy your life, and you get a chance to have good experiences, enjoy that stuff, man. So I learned, like I said, bills always gonna be there. Everything's always gonna be there. What's not always gonna be there? You, me, we are not always gonna be here. So enjoy the life before we're not here. Them bills still gonna be there. Them bills still gonna be there. Everything's still gonna be there. As long as that job's still gonna be there. As soon as you pass away, as soon as your obituary is gone, your damn replacement is starting. So don't worry about it. Just enjoy yourself. Enjoy your life. Take care of yourself. You you are your own. You are the only version of yourself. Take care of it. They're not gonna make no replacements. They're not gonna make no replacements. But yeah, this I'm glad being with her, man. She helped me enjoy life, helped me enjoy myself. Because I was just all about working, all about trying to get this money, trying to do this, and not sitting back and enjoying stuff, just riding past everything, and not sitting, like I said, not taking the time out and smell the roses. And that's what she allowed me to do, smell the roses. You know, well, she's Hispanic, smell the sunflowers. And being married, it's good. And I'm telling you one thing, being married to an Hispanic woman, yeah, it's very fun, very very fun, very fun. I'm saying I ain't gonna. Now I'm not. No, I'm gonna get this straight right here. I'm not that type of person. I've been married. This is my third time I've been married. I've been married to a black woman. I had 3 children. A black woman, married to a black woman. Things didn't end well. And the fact that it didn't end well and things went wrong. As far as with my children and everything, I don't hold that. I don't hold that against all black women. I'm not never held it against all black women. And that's something that me and her individually went through. Okay, so I had another child with a white woman, who were together for a while, and things was okay, and it ended up turning out, things ended, things happen, and I'm hold that against all white women. What I went through with her. So then I've been married again. I was married before to another Mexican woman, and that's when that was terrible. That was terrible. It started out, I thought it was one way, and it turned out to be another way, and it was terrible. It turned out being terrible. But then, through all of that, led me to my beautiful wife I have right now. She's Mexican, you know. And it's very, and I love her with all my heart. She's very passionate. She's very loving. She loves her husband. You know, she loves me. I love her. You know, and it's very interesting being married to an Hispanic woman. They're very very unique individuals. First of all, let me tell you, I told I was going to say this. I want to say this too. Being here down here, I've been, you know, immersed in Hispanic culture a lot. I still, don't get me wrong, I still who I am, but I've expanded a little bit. I have, a lot more familiar with, Hispanic or Mexican culture. So with that being said, you know, they pretty much like us. I don't understand why. That's what I don't understand. I don't. I never understand the beef between blacks and Mexicans because other than like other than like unity, we do have an issue with unity as far as stuff like that. Being able to come together and build stuff. Us as blacks, we still working on that. But other than that, we are just blacks and Mexicans, just alike. We like cousins. We do. We like cousins. When we party, drink, everything. They like cooking, like everything. But here's the thing is about Mexicans that's funny to me. And I used to tell her this all the time. All right, the music. You listen to music, she like to listen to like the cumbia, the tejano, stuff like that. And the music, you listen to a song, right? They have the nice beats, the music, they had the damn beat. They had the little beats going, everything. You be bobbing your head and stuff like, damn, that's not you. You don't have to understand the word they saying. You can feel it. You feel the energy, you feel the vibe of the song, you feel it. You just bob your head and stuff. You bob your head like, damn, that song nice. What's going on? Song that nice. And then my old lady be like, oh, that song is about a man who lost his wife in a damn fire, or his wife left him for his best friend, and he's saying that he loves her to death. Like, God, I'm like, I'm not down. I mean, I'm not used to that. Doing my black people said we had a song about that. That song would be like it wouldn't be a song you would dance to. It wouldn't be a dancing move singing about your wife left you or somebody dying or something. You don't be wanting to dance with. That's Mexican music, boy. They be jamming. Somebody be if song be about their whole family dying. They be like, that's how it is. That's why I had to get that's why I had to, get used to and learn. That was, very interesting for me, thinking about that. But yeah, they like, let me see, Mexican, they like tortillas. Oh my God, corn, flour, whatever. Learn how to make all that. Learn how to, know how to make tamales. Let's see, tortas. Papusas. Those tacos. You know, what else? Gallo de pollo. I'm sorry. And there's some birria hot dog, birria tacos. You know, I'm trying to get my Spanish a little bit. Trying to learn. So I would like to be able to. Because there's a lot of Spanish speaking people around here, around Texas, Southern Texas, period. You know, and I would like to be able to have a conversation with someone. Not being able to. I know I'm able to like talk as I would talk to someone that's English speaking, but I would be able to have a little simple conversation with someone. Yes, other than just a few words. You know, I know what words to say. I know what words to listen for if I know someone talking about me. And I already know that. I already, got hip to the game with that. So I ain't worried about that. It'd be nice to be able to listen, talk to someone that, like being able to talk to someone in Spanish and stuff. Because when I say hola and stuff like that, everybody know hola. Sometimes I'll be like, have a nice day, que tengas un buen día, say that sometimes. Yeah, so trying to learn a little bit. I tell my wife te amo every day. Te amo is I love you. Te amo mucho. I love you a lot. You know, try to try to learn, try to show that, I'm flexible. I'm able to, I'm a sponge. I'm able to learn some cultures and stuff and try to expand myself, make myself a better person. That's all it's gonna do, make you a better person. I know when the top people gonna sit up here and complain because the place has Spanish speaking people. Instead of complaining about that, just learn try to understand this, try to understand their language, try to understand their language. You're capable of doing it instead of sitting up here complaining. Why don't they learn English? Won't you learn Spanish? There's no official language here in the United States, so their language is just as official as English is. So I don't understand why they think this is an English speaking. This is an English country. No, this is a free country. You speak what you want to speak. You can believe who you want to believe. You can pray who you want to pray. You know. Yeah. Yeah, actually, love dating my wife, man. She make every day, time, we get pissed off at each other, we go, we stop talking for about 30 minutes to an hour or whatever, or whenever, I get a chance to smack her in the booty, then I feel better. I forgot what we were arguing about. She might still remember, then she forgot after a while, so it's all about making up, that's all. You're gonna have arguments. You're human beings. You're not alike. We got different brains, so our brains are not going to go on the same path all the time. Whenever we have arguments, it's all about making up. Controlling yourself, so you won't let yourself get out of control in that argument where you might do something you might regret, but or say something you might regret. But it's all about making up, and it's all about repairing it. That's what it's all about. That's how it lasts. So you're gonna think, you simply thinking ain't nothing gonna go down, that you're gonna have everything like on TV, that you'll have a problem and it be over in 30 minutes and two commercials, that this gonna be over with. No, it don't work like that. You know? But when you have a problem, you sit up here, you talk about it, where if you don't want it, you want to go to your corners for a little bit, you go ahead. But then you sit here and try to work on it, talk about it. Shouldn't up here being mad, because most of the time, a lot of times stuff that come between relationships starts out something petty, but it festered. You don't talk about it, so it festers and festers and festers and festers till there's, what is it, like you have a house, you have termites. If you don't do nothing about it, what's gonna happen? They fester, they eat, it fester and fester. Next thing you know, your whole foundation is destroyed. Same thing with a marriage. You sit here and let all this stuff fester and fester and fester, and next thing you know, the whole foundation of your marriage is gone. So you didn't deal with it you didn't deal with it in time. You waited till it got, you waited till it become a serious problem, then you trying to deal with it. It's like that. Because there's too many issues on it then. Deal with it now. Whenever you have that feeling in you, bring it up, talk about it. If you're in a real relationship, you should be able to talk about it. You know, don't be ashamed to talk to your partner about whatever. That's your partner, y'all should be able to talk about whatever. You know, it's all about trust. You know, I don't got answers. Like I said, I done been, this is my third marriage. You know, I done had failed relationships and everything. I'm not no guru. I'm not the love doctor or anything like that. But I'm just saying, you see stuff and you hear stuff and you pay attention to stuff. Listening to people, listening to men, listening to women throughout my life, sort of listen and pay attention to things that they need. I know everybody's not the same, but you get sort of basic things that everybody be saying about, stuff like that. So it's not a science. What may work for somebody might not work for somebody else. But I know what worked for everybody is communication. Communication is the key. Communicate. I don't know how in the world I got to giving dating advice. But I'm here for everything. I'm here to help. That's all. I'm here to help. I'm just here for you to help, man. That's all. I'm not, seeing where we're going. Let's see where we go. Let's take it day by day. Ain't trying to, I ain't trying to conquer the world. You know, I'm just trying to talk to you. Just trying to talk to my people out here. Just trying to help people any way I can. I say, hopefully, things, whatever you're going through, hopefully, it's temporary. Hopefully, whatever is bothering you, whatever is holding you back, hopefully, you'll be able to, you know, have the vision or the knowledge to get past it, or something will be put into your path to help you conquer whatever is bothering you or whatever is holding you down or keeping you back. But it's all about, I mean, you gotta have faith. You gotta have faith in something. I ain't telling nobody what to believe in. No, I'm telling you who to believe in or whatever. But you gotta have faith, man. You gotta have faith if you want things to work. Sitting here thinking that everything is negative and nothing is gonna go right. I truly believe throw stuff like that out in the universe. That I think that in a way can hinder you. Because if you saying stuff like that, that means you feel it. That means you're not gonna put forth the effort that you would if you felt like this is gonna be successful, this is gonna be good. You felt like, oh, this ain't gonna, I'm gonna try it, but it ain't gonna work anyway. You ain't gonna put forth the right effort. So you might cheat yourself out of a positive outcome because you didn't put forth the effort. So no, I'm saying, 51 years old, trying to stay. I know I'm not gonna be able to, be in the shape that I was when I was 18 years old. That's impossible. But I'm trying to, keep, watch what I put in my body. I wish I could drink more water. My thing is I need to drink more water. I really do. But I try to, keep. I eat a lot of green vegetables, a lot of greens, vegetables and stuff that is grown. I try to limit the processed foods I put in my body. I try to, like I said, drink like I still drink coffee. I still drink a little soda. So I do have vices too, but I try to work out. I don't get to work out like I want to. I do what I can. I got weights in the house. I got gym membership, so I get to do what I can. You know, Luckily I got some good genetics, so some good genes. So I don't have to kill myself every day. If I get, if I need to get something off, I know what I need to do. I understand that I'm not going to get to where I was in high school. I'm not ever going to be at 210 pounds again, not and be healthy. If I was at 200, I'm 200, I'm like 255 pounds now. If I was 210 pounds right now, y'all swear I'd be on that you swear I'd be on that yayo. And to that I say, hell no. For real. But yeah, he's trying to, that's part of the, bettering yourself and being a healthy person mentally, physically, try to watch what you put in your body. So you don't want to put stuff in your body that's going to make you tired and sluggish and everything because you're not going to be sharp mentally or physically. You want to put stuff in your body that's going to make you sharp, make you be out here so you can see everything. So somebody can't get this, the jump on you, nothing like that. You want to stay sharp. You want to be out here dragging and tired and stuff, and you got some more greasy food on your stomach. You're trying to find somewhere to lay down. And stop doing that. You gotta stop doing that. We got to stop that. Stop the cycle of having high blood pressure and diabetes and all that stuff, and start eating healthy. You'll start eating right. I ain't saying cut out stuff completely. Nah, you just got to know. You know, every time that you have a gathering, you can't have don't have a bunch of fried food, bunch of grease, a bunch of stuff like that. Man, have them salads, have some sub salads, something. It's healthy stuff. Promote health. You know, so we can be around here for a while. You know, I want all of y'all to be around here for a while. Want us to make this place better. We can't make this place better if we're not here. Okay, we got to teach the young ones what they need to do to make this place better. You know, we stood on the shoulders of the people before us, and the people after us gonna stand on our shoulders. But we got to get them some strong shoulders to stand on. We can't do that. We can goddamn fat back and all this stuff every weekend. No, we got to eat healthy. We got to eat healthy. Eat, grow. Get back to our roots, growing our own food and all that stuff, man. We got to start doing that. Get right. But we can do that. Yes, we can do that. We are gonna do that because like I said, we used to struggle. We black, we struggle in this country. We struggle. We struggle. So all this stuff is going on to us. We not sitting up here freaking out. We like, welcome to our world. You don't got enough money to last throughout the week. Welcome to our world. You got to put one or two, three. You got to put one or two checks together to get the rent paid or get this bill paid. Welcome to our world. We grew up with this. We know this. So this ain't so shocking to us. I just like to, and like I said, I just, sometimes like to sit and think about, where we come from, where I've been, where I'm trying to go to, and it's, like I said, it's very, I have very, very positive outlook towards things. That's why I'm out here doing this, like I said, trying to help, have a very positive outlook towards stuff. I don't think doom and gloom all the time, even though it's everywhere around you. Try not to think doom and gloom all the time, because that stuff will affect you. That stuff will bear down on your heart and stuff. You don't want to do that. You don't want to try to think positive, you know, try to have a positive attitude towards stuff. That's how things will get better. That's how things will get better. That is how it will get better. And I would like to I appreciate y'all for coming here. You know, I'd like to appreciate y'all for coming and spending some time with me. You know, like I said, I'm do this and do this every day, 5 days a week. I'm trying to give you 5 days a week. If I fall short on it, don't hold it against me. Some got busy. I'm 51 years old. Maybe my damn hip started hurting. I couldn't get up the stairs. Something. Just, but I'm trying to come with y'all every day. I'm actually going on a little vacation this weekend, so Friday I probably won't. So it'll be tomorrow, and then I'll probably come back Monday with something else. You know, I'm trying to like I said, I'm trying to be there for y'all, make this and be consistent with it, and bring this realness to y'all. Whatever there is to talk about. Whether it be it sports, politics, whatever, current events. Matter dating advice. Advice with the kids, whatever. We can do it here. We're gonna do it all here. We can talk about it. I love y'all. Y'all take care of yourselves. Have a good evening. I'll see y'all tomorrow.